Welcome into another edition of the Rivals Hoops with Rob Cassidy podcast. I'm Woody Wommack, joined by the man himself, Rob Cassidy. Rob, how's it going?
It's going, man. It's good. We got a chance to see a certified freak of nature last night. You and I both watched, and that was exciting. And things are good. I'm headed towards the weekend. A weekend home for the first time in like a month.
Congratulations. I look forward to you losing a bunch of money on football.
Yes. That's the one thing about working every day of your life is it gives you less time to gamble your life savings away on football games you don't know anything about.
All right, real quick, I want to remind everyone this is a weekly podcast now. We need you to lock in, tap in, subscribe. You can watch the show on YouTube. We have the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave a review. Please keep coming back. We'll keep doing more episodes. Now, Rob mentioned it right off the top. I texted him yesterday and said, hey, we got to watch this game tonight. Victor Wembanyama, I think is how you say it.
Exactly how you say it.
Against Scoot Henderson. 1 versus 2 at next year's draft, pretty much already settled. We don't know what to expect. We want to see what this guy looks like, and we saw it, and he looked pretty good, I'd say.
He looked like nothing I've ever seen before. I called him Chet Holmgren Premium because it's essentially what he is, right? He's like Chet Holmgren, but you get no ads, and you get a bunch of extra features that you don't get in regular Chet Holmgren, with features such as weight and better ball handling. I mean, he really is a 7'3" point forward that, in my opinion, is unless he gets hurt badly, I can't see a world in which he's not the first pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren plus exclusive content. He'll DM with you twice with 2 messages.
Sign up and see all of my exclusive content on Chet Holmgren Plus.
Yeah, he's like you said, he's bigger than Chet. I would say Chet is a better defender. Now he did it. Wembanyama had 5 blocks in the game, so people are going to see that and say, "Oh, he had 5 blocks." He's a great defender, just like Serge Ibaka. But in reality, he's obviously got some work there to do. If you're going to nitpick, right?
Yeah, he's not as aggressive as some other bigs are, some American bigs, and that could be and maybe this is stereotyping. It could be a product of the international game. He seems a little timid on the defensive end. But that seems pretty easy to fix when confidence grows, because then I think his confidence is going to go quickly when he realizes that, there's nothing in the NBA quite like him. And I don't think that'll be a problem long term.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Obviously, the clip that everybody was talking about early on in the game when he dribbles the ball up and, he kind of is initiating the offense as a ball handler. Pretty impressive. I mean, he moves very fluidly, and this is one of the things if we look back prior to you essentially taking over the basketball role, you were so out on Bol from the first minute.
First time I saw him.
Yeah, you said there's no way this kid will never play ever. He's gonna get hurt immediately. Blah blah blah. Now he crawled so Victor could walk here because he was a fluid ball handling guy at over 7 feet tall.
He was, but he didn't move. I don't really know how to explain it. You can kind of look at these guys sometimes and be like, that looks like a back injury waiting to happen. Like, you can see it coming with him. You can see it coming with like a Greg Oden type. Wembanyama looks more like, I don't know, solid is the word, or put together, or I guess sturdy. Sturdy. Let's go with sturdy. He looks sturdier than a lot of those guys. Like, yeah, he's skinny, and yeah, he needs to put on weight. But he's not built like Chet, and he doesn't look as disjointed as Bol did. He actually looks like a regular human, Now his feet are a little bit weird like him, but he looks like a normal human being.
Yeah, speaking of premium content,
love that we saw his dogs. Yeah. Please pay for Wembanyama's feet pics. We'll send them to you. We'll put them in the premium for the show.
So you mentioned the sturdiness, his frame. He looks like. And you can't even compare. Here's the thing: is like people now we view Giannis as like this freak of nature. You look back at Giannis's rookie year; he looks like some skinny dork. He doesn't. He grew taller and thicker. I think Wembanyama's easily got a frame that he's not going to have a hard time gaining weight like we know Chet had. People think that Chet doesn't try to gain weight. Actually, I saw a TikTok he posted of himself like. Essentially mocking people that say like, hey, you should just gain weight. Like he's not. I think this guy, I mean, to me, even if he were to get hurt, it's a no-brainer, number one. You just have to take the chance on the absolute freak factor.
I think the only way that that's not true is if it's like a weird back injury, and then you've got a 7'3" guy with a hurt back, and then you start thinking, okay. But other than that, you're right. Even if it's like a knee or something, I still probably take him one.
Well, and of course, people who didn't know who he was 90 minutes before the game started on Twitter were immediately like, he should shut it down. Why is he playing? Shut it down. So you're going to hear that from now until the draft, right? That he shouldn't be. Why is he walking? He should be in a wheelchair. He can risk injury. That's where we're
Get
headed.
one of those scooters, yeah.
Right. So let's now, speaking of scooters, let's talk about Scoot Henderson.
Nice.
The person number 2 overall pick. Now I live here in Atlanta. A lot of people who play with Scoot go to my gym. They talk about him. The dog factor off the charts. I think we saw that immediately. Like he was raring and ready to go, and he was going to go at Victor right away.
Listen, he is a dude where you watch him. You don't really even need to know anything about him. You could like set me in a gym somewhere in Idaho with a bunch of kids and be like, one of these kids is really good from Atlanta. Which one is it? I would be like, oh, it's Scoot. And he just plays. I mean, he's got that chip. He likes to talk. He's kind of surly. He's just like an Atlanta dude, which I appreciate. And, I think he's a blast. He's not going to be number 1 as long as Chet Holmgren Premium is around. But, he'd be number 1 a lot of years, I think. And he's gotten better shooting the ball. Last night he was coming screens and just pulling up. And he wasn't doing that when I saw him, when he was in high school, the few times I got to see him before he turned pro. He's kind of added that to his game. He's a pretty good facilitator. He gets end to end quickly. There's not a lot he can't do. He might be, he's a good defender. He's got the motor to do it anyway. He'll have to come a long way as far as not gambling and staying disciplined on that end of the court, but he plays hard enough to be a willing defender at least.
Yeah, we saw at the end of the game. I mean, I think you might have dozed off, so I sent it to you overnight.
I saw it.
Where he decided that he was going to try to dunk on Victor, and it didn't work, and he fell to the floor pretty hard. You could have called a foul. I could have called a foul on that play, personally.
Listen, that's the Atlanta in him, though.
Right.
He was always going to try it.
Right. He was going to try to get his shot, and I love it because I've told people, when I don't go to anywhere near as many events as you do, obviously, but we've been robbed of the joy of 2 years of Scoot Henderson viral videos of him dunking on people and yelling at people and stuff like that at AAU events, right?
It's too bad, Peach Jam would have really been his stage to shine, to dunk on some high related prospect and then spend the next 3 minutes mouthing at him running back.
Right.
I would have just loved that.
A lot of I'm him, we need the him mic'd up.
I'm him slime.
Right. So we missed that. So I was glad that the world got to see him because, the basketball world, at least, I'm sure. I did feel like a lot of people were watching that game. Now, I was needling a lot of my friends like, hey, we got to watch this. Hey, we got to watch this because we need to see what this guy's all about. So it was a fun watch. I think Scoot's going to make somebody very happy. And I think this is going to end up being one of those drafts where you mentioned the Odin Durant year, where both teams felt happy. I feel like if you have the number 2 pick, you're going to be happy getting Scoot Henderson. So, right.
What's going to be the fake controversy is what I want to know. There's got to be a fake why teams are going to pretend or they don't want to take Victor. And is it going to be his weight? Are they going to find some intangible thing to make up? There's going to be something, right? Because it's not just going to be a smooth sailing to the number 1 pick. There's going to be a disjointed month or so there where people are like, well, I don't know. It's going to be fake and hilarious. I just want to know what the basis of it is going to be.
My guess would be at least the people who make that argument will be his stats, because for whatever reason, EuroLeague play and these guys who play in Europe, especially younger, you go look at Luka's stats. It's like, oh, he averaged 9 points a game. And you're like, how? But the pace of play is slower. The style of play is different. And
they share the ball a lot more.
Right.
It's sometimes you want to shake them and be like, dude, just score.
Right.
What is this?
I play with a lot of Euros, and and even I had a friend who had moved here from Greece, and we went to play, and he wasn't shooting. He was passing up open shots to make an extra pass. And I remember just cussing at him. I did take him to LA Fitness where he commented, famously, I think we've used several times, this is not basketball. This is a circus.
It's not wrong.
because people, were fighting over the score mid-game and stuff like that. So.
The biggest shock that I ever had when I moved from Dallas to Miami years ago was I had a good group of guys that I played like 3 times a week with at LA Fitness in Dallas, and it was like an old fireman and his son and like some other guys, and we got pretty close, and we'd have drinks after playing sometimes. I got to Miami, and it was like a fist fight every single day. I had to quit. I was like, I cannot sit here with these people punching each other in the LA Fitness. So that was my retirement from pickup.
Well, that's what people don't realize is like people will often ask me, "Oh, why are you playing in Atlanta?" I'm like, you don't understand. For me to go play basketball in Atlanta, it's like a 3-act play. I have to go there, not get picked to play. I have to call next and then somehow get that stolen. Oh no, you didn't have next. There was 4 other people in front of you. Then I have to pick someone on the court who I know that I'm better than, and I have to attack them verbally.
Sure, you have to establish
like,
some kind of. You can't be the low man on the totem pole. Right, you'll get eaten alive.
So I have to say, you picked up him instead of me. Come on, So I have to do that, and then I get.
And then he's gonna foul. And then that guy's gonna foul you hard as hell. So you gotta be ready for that. I mean, you're gonna get smashed.
Right, and then if I don't make my first shot, I'm not touching the ball again ever. So. You're talking, that's an hour right there just to get on the court.
You come to Dallas and you play with, fireman Ed or whatever and his kid who were just cool. And, there was like some other guy who was there every week and we all knew each other and there was no fighting. Right. Those days are over.
Those days are gone. All right, moving on. That was a fun game to watch. Definitely interesting. We're going to they play again on Thursday. We're recording this on Wednesday, so some people might be listening to this after. So we'll see how part 2 goes. London Johnson. In the news, he decides to go the G League route. We've talked about this a little bit with Scoot, who was one of the guys who left really early, taking basically 2 years to go to the G League. I said to you and Travis, I haven't heard much about this guy. What's the deal? And you basically said, well, it's been a foregone conclusion that he was going to go pro.
Yeah, and he kind of shut it down. He was really, really good on last year's summer circuit. He didn't play a lot this summer for whatever reason. I think mostly because he kind of knew where he was headed. So we haven't really gotten to see the development. We were high on him, though. He's a highly ranked kid, and he probably would have been an even higher ranked kid if he didn't drop some spots just because we moved people in front of him, just because we saw them more. I think he's definitely got a chance to be an effective pro. Now, he's not a Scoot Henderson type. He's not. I don't think he's ever going to be the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft. But he's going to change. I think you'll probably see him in NBA conversations in the year ahead.
So is he going now, or is he playing his senior year of basketball at Norcross or wherever?
I assumed, and I don't know this for a fact, I assumed he'll play his senior year in Georgia. But I guess he could go now. I didn't really read into it anything last night. I just flipped this thing to went pro in the database and went about my day because I had James to cover and everything else happening yesterday.
So and just to give people a peek behind the curtain, when someone goes pro, now if we look back at LeBron, he was the number 1 overall player. We've kind of changed that, right? And he keeps his stars, but isn't in a numerical ranking. Is that right? Or how are we
That's how we've done it, and we might have to go back. I mean, if they get rid of the one and done thing, then I don't know. And with overtime coming up, it's kind of a flux. Rivals is kind of in flux when it comes to rankings on that front because of how uncertain things are. There's all these new pro leagues popping up. And so internally, Derek, my boss, and I, and Travis, who's our other national basketball guys, kind of had these conversations where we might have to change and just continue to leave these pro kids in the rankings. But then how do you evaluate a kid? Let's say he goes overseas and turns pro. Then what? I'm not going to – Rivals doesn't have the budget to send me to Turkey, to watch one kid play basketball. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do. It's a conversation that we need to reckon with, though, I think.
Well, the problem that a lot of people don't realize is the reason we do the rankings is to give fans context of the players going to their schools.
So yeah, Rivals.com is a media company for college basketball fans.
Right. College, yeah, and college football fans. So when a guy's not going to play college basketball, to us, it's sort of like, all right, well then, and that's how you have the same thing in football, where it's like, why wasn't Cooper Kupp ranked? It's like, well, we rank FBS football prospects. He was not deemed one by the coaches who make these decisions.
Yeah, we never saw him. Like nobody ever called us and said, I got a guy here in Cooper Kupp. If we don't know the kid exists, we cannot rank the kid.
Right. So that's something we'll have to keep thinking about. as we go along. But yeah, it's definitely he's a talented player. We'll see how it goes for him at the next level. Now, one thing I want to talk about real quick, we'll give a short show this week. We had in the news, of course, Emoni Bates. We had the situation where he was pulled over and arrested or charged, however it went down. And of course, this led to the think pieces of, oh, was there too much pressure put on him? Yada, yada. And then I came across that masterclass article where we had him ranked number one ahead of, and then you didn't do this. This was before your time. Ahead of two, I think I said two number one picks, two number two picks.
It was before my time. And I'd like to point out that the first thing I did when I took over was drop Emoni.
It was crazy. Well, you were viewed as even I was like, I don't know, Rob. I mean, he's supposed to be like LeBron. Are you sure that he's not number one?
Yeah, he just had a rough summer that summer, and it was clear if you watched him that he didn't develop the way. Now, I don't know that blaming the media, like, did they play a part? Should they put him on Sports Illustrated as the next LeBron James when he was a sophomore in high school? No. But, like, lots of kids get hyped up, and they don't ride around with guns. Like, well, I don't like it's really hard to draw a direct line. I think there is, yes, hyping him up the way it enabled him and the people around him to do a lot of things and get away with a lot of things that kind of led to some issues, sure. But drawing a direct line from rivals hype or media hyped him up to got arrested is failed at Memphis, got arrested is tough. That's not a direct line. Like, you can't just like pile it on ESPN because they were the ones that were kind of leading this charge, and Sports Illustrated to an extent. Lots of kids get hyped up. It's not unique to Emoni Bates.
Well, so the thing that, and we don't know, like, to me, it's like, oh, if he borrowed someone's car, I really don't. I mean, to me, that's not like, I'm not clutching my pearls over that. I'm sure he will. I wish we had Lackford on the show to talk about,
No, and who cares? Like, it's not like he shot somebody. But at the same time, it's like, you got to be a little smarter here, kid.
Right. Well, totally. And he's back in his hometown. The thing that I think a lot of people forget is that he should be entering his freshman year of college right now. And he reclassified. It was obviously not a good decision. It didn't work out. Now he's at Eastern Michigan. And one of the things that, because you and I, since our hands are clean, I love to needle the respective basketball media who did said hyping behind the scenes. One of the things is his dad put him on a team where he was, but it was all about him and he didn't learn how to play. And it's like, well, wait a minute, okay, LaMelo Ball was literally in like Lithuania when he was like 14. And then he was in Australia and New Zealand, and then he was in a high school in Ohio. It's like the cream rises to the top.
But listen, there's a lot more Twitter retweets to get by saying it's all the media's fault, because that's as a relatable statement as anybody. I mean, if you put that out there, everybody's going to agree with you, because that's the boogeyman, right? The media did this. Having a nuanced take that says, oh, the media probably didn't do him any favors, but there were these 13 factors that played into the downfall of Emoni Bates, isn't as consumable. So, if you just say, hey, media hyped him up, 300,000 retweets coming your way. I mean, that's just how the world works, and everybody's aware of it. Well, it's an easy take.
We were going through that list. So here's what I think people need to kind of slow their roll on. Patrick Baldwin, who had the worst season ever last year, playing for his dad, was a first-round pick by the Warriors this year. You know what I mean? So it's like, if Emoni Bates has a good season at Eastern Michigan, he will be a first-round pick based solely off of, the pedigree, right, and the potential. Because
what might hurt him is some of his testing numbers at Memphis's pro day were not great. There's some other basketball-related things that are alarm
right, but it's for him. So it's like, yes, the media whiffed. Yes, there's other factors in play, but it's just like, excuse me for the navel gazing of media to say that media is to blame.
Well, it's also like the media is to blame for Emoni Bates, but not for like Ryan Leaf. Like, we pick and choose which spectacular bust is to blame. That's to blame the media.
So anyway, I hope that now I hope he gets obviously the legal stuff settled. I hope he gets a shot to play and show what he can do and see if he has improved, because you and I both know there's been lots of guys, like even yesterday I was watching football and Jack Jones on the Patriots had like the game of his life, had a pick six against Aaron Rodgers. He was a 5-star in 2016, and he's a rookie in the NFL. It's like 7 years later, 6-7 years later. He got in trouble. He righted the ship, and the talent is still there. Like
Yeah, and that's the other thing that people need to remember too is like Emoni Bates didn't rob a bank or beat up a woman or something. Like he just wrong place, wrong time, maybe made this bad decision or two, but like it's not like he's a violent criminal here. He should definitely get another chance to show what he can do. I don't think that this is the end of Emoni Bates. At least it shouldn't be. I don't think. I think he should. I think by all means, he should get a chance to show what he can do here.
All right, so that basically wraps it up on the basketball talk. You were in Dallas this weekend. You got any Rob's Tales from the road you want to share with us?
It was a pretty quiet weekend. I just basically went to and from the basketball arena. It was a really nice event, and that Wooten camp down there is always good. That's not really. I've noticed that a lot of people in Dallas, like the hipster crowd in Dallas, is starting to wear wrestling shirts again. That's gone in and out. Like you start seeing people in like 90s wrestling clothes now, where when I was a kid, if you wore 90s wrestling clothes, it stopped being cool. But now you can wear them ironically, and it makes you the cool kid.
Well, you don't listen. Let me tell you, as someone who's at a lot of events, all these shooters will show up to these games, and it's like wearing Aaliyah. We got Aaliyah, we got wrestling, we got
them. A lot of John Cena gear.
Right, we got them all, and I actually had one of them remark to me that they deemed that I wasn't racist because I don't try hard to look cool. So
that is the most incredibly backhanded compliment. I appreciate that.
Though. Yeah, so that I take that from so that was from Saucy, so big shout to Saucy. That's the other thing is all these people who are content creators, basically videographers and photographers, have monikers now. So I need to come up with one and get my own merch, and they got their own logos.
It's who am I to badmouth the youth of today?
Hey, shout out to Saucy, shout out to I Smooth here in Atlanta, one of my guys.
Who's our guy? Kid Rhino?
Kid Rhino, who works for us. Yeah, got his own name. Now I don't know what mine would be. I did think about making one like a logo with my hat, like a shadow. Like the
floppy hat,
yeah, like with the safari hat. So I got to work on that, and then I could put it on my own clothes and only wear clothes.
If we're gonna like sum up your essence, though, it's gonna have to have a cuss word in your moniker, and it's gonna be tough to market. But like, it seems almost silly to have a moniker for you that doesn't feature the F word, or at least the CS word.
Yeah, CS is probably my number. I mean, if anyone who does an impression of me, that would be the word that comes out the most for sure. So anyway, big shout to the shooters out there. Let me tell you something about Dallas. Last time I was there, real quick, we got to figure out how to make hot chicken, okay? Because where I'm from here, okay, hot chicken originates in Nashville. The way you do it is the spices go into the breading and the flour, and then it's cooked in there, right?
Yes.
I went to this place in Dallas, famous hot chicken place, we'll put it that way, line down the street to get in there. They take a big ass chicken breast, fry it like a chicken tender, then they like dry rub the hot seasoning on there. It's like, that's not how you make it. This is like, what is this, shake and bake? This is horrible.
The other thing is we need a scale, because like in most places in the South, the mild is pretty hot and the medium is scorching. Like the place that we went to and got hot chicken by your house in Atlanta, it wasn't hot at all.
Right.
And in other places where you're not in the South, it's not hot at all. So you don't really know what you're walking into here. So, I mean, anywhere you go, it's like rolling the dice. And then you ask the guy behind the counter, he doesn't know, is the medium hot? Oh, it's got some spice. Yeah, it's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. And then you order it and either it's flavorless or it sets your face on fire. And there's no in between. We need a scale.
One of the issues I'm having too with the hot chicken, or the way they're making it that way, is the chicken is not, it's coming out almost like it's too hard or it's too chewy. Didn't we go somewhere? I'm trying to remember.
The place by your house was a disaster. It was like dry and hard and not spicy. I don't know what was.
Yeah, we threw it away. We ended up throwing it away. What place? What was that?
I paid for a T-shirt. They didn't give me the T-shirt.
Oh, that's right. You're talking right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and it was so bad that I threw mine away.
Yeah, and I got. It was like add a T-shirt to your value meal for $5, and I did it, and they didn't give me the shirt.
Yeah,
I don't want the shirt now, but
that
still.
was real rough. So I won't say the name of the place, but it's a Nashville related pun, and it's literally walking distance from my house. And it was a part of Rob and I are comedy of errors trying to get food that weekend at multiple stops. The old Wommack Law coming into play, but you combine Wommack Law with Atlanta customer service, and it's going to be a long weekend. All right, so hot chicken. I still will say Party Foul in Nashville is my favorite hot chicken. I do like Hattie B's, of course, which is a chain now, and then Gus's, which we went to in Memphis last time we were there. Still the best, but the problem is now Gus's is a chain too, and it's like there's one in New Orleans, there's one in.
I like Prince's in Nashville,
Oh yeah.
but that is one where you better be careful ordering the medium. I don't even want to know what the hot tastes like. I get the medium, and it was good, but man, I felt it for a while.
All right, so Rob's got a tight schedule, so we will not have the podcast him and I do exclusively on the Commitment Issues feed where we talk about stuff like hot chicken. So be sure to lock in here. Like we said, subscribe, watch the show on YouTube, leave us a review. We need it badly as we're trying to get this thing off the ground. Rob, you can follow Rob on Twitter. Of course, you can follow our Rivals Hoops accounts. And we'll be back with another episode next week, right, Rob?
Yeah, we will. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right, talk to you later.